Perfect. Thanks for joining, everyone. Welcome to the second part of this calibration and profiling webinar series. Today, we'll be talking about calibration and profiling for color control. Presenting today is Leanna May, an application specialist at X-Rite Pantone. I'm Netta Goldfriend, Regional Marketing Specialist for EMEA, and I will be moderating today's webinar. Due to the number of people that are attending today's webinar, we will keep everyone muted. If you have questions, please use the questions function on the GoToWebinar panel. We will have time to answer some questions at the end. Finally, this webinar will be recorded and you will receive a link so that you can review the webinar at your convenience. I will now turn over to Leanna.
Thank you, Netta, and welcome from my side too. The next 50 minutes, I will give you a brief introduction to the I1 Profiler software. What is it for? How it can be licensed using different I1 device configurations and how it is operated in general. I1 Profiler has a powerful basic and advanced user interface concept, and I will show this in a little live demo. Okay, in today's color reproduction workflows, ICC color management is the technology to get your color reproduction consistent and foreseeable and repeatable from input to viewing through final output. This requires accurate ICC profiles for every involved system. And I1 Profiler is X-Rite's universal software to create high-end ICC profiles for all your input and output devices or processes, like monitors, projectors, scanners, cameras, and nearly all conventional and digital printing systems, which can be RGB, CMYK, or even CMYK plus up to 4 spot color systems. Yeah, so I1 Profiler is used in nearly any market where prints are produced, in photo and fine art printing, photo labs, design studios, pre-press and press houses like Offset, Graver, Flexo, or even industrial printing like textile, ceramics, packaging, signage, and much, much more. I1 Profiler is running on all current Mac and Windows environments, so I1 Profiler is really your hub to create ICC profiles for all your current and even future input and output devices. There are several ways how to license the software. You can license it, for instance, with an I1 Pro 2 or 3 or 3 Plus device. Usually I1 Profiler is part of your I1 Pro product, and the device itself carries the licenses for the software, means it acts like a dongle. Yeah, and depending on the type of product configuration, less or more functions are licensed. I will show the product configurations in the next slide. Or you can license the software with an I1 Display Pro or Pro Plus, for instance, for photographers, filmmakers, or designers. We offer these devices, which also include the I1 Profiler software. And these devices unlock then only the monitor and projector profiling workflows. Or you can license the software even with a USB dongle, which carries usually the full license level for I1 Profiler. This dongle is included when buying the I1 Publish product without any measurement device. This is for users which may already have an I1 Pro 2 or I1 Pro 3 or 3 Plus hardware, which was, for instance, bundled with an OEM solution and which does not carry any licenses for I1 Profiler. So when launching I1 Profiler with a connected I1 device or dongle, the license level is indicated in I1 Profiler's home screen. And depending, or let's say green marks indicate a licensed function and red marks indicate non-licensed functions. The slide here shows license level for levels for different I1 configurations, like basic, photo, publish. I cannot introduce all these packages, but you may want to visit our website, xrite.com, and go to i1 family for more information. Please note, i1 Pro 2 and 3 devices are also often bundled with products from other vendors, like, for instance, RIP or printing systems. And in these cases, the devices may not carry any licenses for the i1 Profiler software. But if you want to use such a device with i1 Profiler, yeah, you can buy the i1 Publish software with an extra USB dongle, or you can also buy an upgrade code for your device. The product is called i1 Publish Upgrade A. And yeah, for further information, you may consult an X-Rite dealer to get information for such products. Aside from i1 or i1 display devices, i1 Profiler supports further instruments. One is the I/O table, I/O 2 or 3 measurement table, which helps to automate measuring printer test charts with an i1 Pro 2, respectively i1 Pro 3. And I/O itself does not carry licenses for i1 Profiler, but of course the inverted i1 Pro may do it, and i1 Profiler recognize these licenses. Also, ISIS chart reader family is supported. These devices also allow to automate measuring paper test charts. But here it is important to understand that an ISIS does not include a license for i1 Profiler software, so this needs to be purchased separately. Whatever device you have connected, i1 Profiler will automatically adapt all on-screen instructions for performing test chart generation or performing measurements to that particularly connected device. Okay, this picture shows all the available workflows around ICC profile generation, as well as for other measurement tasks and quality control tasks. This is a view in advanced user mode. Explaining every workflow in detail would go beyond our time, but if you want to review all these powerful functions, you can download i1 Profiler from our website, go to the support top download section, and install it, and then simply launch it and walk through the workflows. By the way, if you have an i1 Pro device, i1 Pro 2 or even i1 Pro 3 without any i1 Profiler licenses, you can already do a couple of tasks in demo mode with the software. For instance, creating test charts, print and measure them, measure single colors, save measurements to share, or even measure a light source. This is possible in the monitor or printer profiling workflows. But some profiling features make i1 Profiler really very unique. I would like to introduce them quickly. One unique feature is the OBC profiling workflow. OBC is a shortcut for optical brightener compensation, and it allows you to compensate effects of optical brightness in today's papers, which can lead to an unexpected bluish-gray balance in a resulting profile. And the key of this workflow is that the compensation is based on visual assessment instead of compensating the OBA with by using a UV cut filter, respectively M2 measurement mode. The workflow guides you through the complete process, and it really leads to fantastic profiles with the perfect gray balance, visually defined. Another unique feature, very new, is our new transmissive profiling workflow. It requires an i1 Pro 3 Plus device with a large 8mm aperture and allows you to measure clear or translucent materials like backlight, textiles, or foils in transmissive measurement mode on a light box. Profiling these materials in transmissive mode improves the color quality massively and eliminates the problem of outwashed colors like you would get when you measure these materials in reflective measurement mode. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look to I1 Profiler's user interface. I will leave the presentation here on Profiler and see my screen. So when you launch it, I1 Profiler's home wizard appears, and it provides a basic and an advanced user mode, which can be selected here right hand in the software. And depending on what is selected, less or more options appear in the workflow selector here left hand in the section. In basic mode, only the most relevant workflows for ICC profile creation are offered. And even within a selected workflow, the tasks and options are also reduced. For instance, using predefined printer test charts instead of generating an own one, really to get straightforward with small steps to a good ICC profile. Yeah, in advanced user mode, when I switch to advanced mode, a couple of more workflows and other tasks are accessible. And also within a specific workflow, more settings are available. For instance, create custom printer test charts and also save every settings and data. I will show this in a few seconds. Other than this, when you look right hand to the wizard, you can manage license upgrades for devices or register your product. You will find information about the software version, and you can even check for software upgrades or let the software do it automatically. Yeah, especially for monitor calibration or profiling, you will need to select or tell the software already here in the home wizard which measurement device you want to use. This is because of that I1 Profiler supports different devices for monitor color management, and depending on the selected instrument, the workflow instructions in the monitor profiling will differ. Okay, yeah, let's have a look to workflow in basic user mode. When, for instance, selecting printer profiling, RGB printer profiling, yeah, you can, you see the workflow steps here below in the workflow diagram. You can navigate from step through step by arrow buttons right hand in the wizard, or even by clicking to a particular workflow step directly in the diagram. Also, help is integrated and displayed by default in basic user mode. And when you move the cursor onto a particular option in a wizard, you get directly displayed explanations to this particular option. Yeah. Let's have a look to the same work in advanced user mode that you can selecting RGB printer again and selecting profiling, and yeah, workflow steps are included. Navigation is the same. You can use the arrow buttons to toggle between workflow steps, but also click on a particular workflow step directly. The help is also integrated. It can optionally be shown by clicking on the help icon. Then the concept is the same. When you move the cursor over a particular option, you get immediately shown help instructions or explanations for this. One main difference between basic and advanced user mode is in the advanced user mode, sections. The asset section here, left hand in the wizard. Assets are files which can be saved for every workflow step, and they are saved in an XML-based format. They include all settings or data selected or produced. Means when you created measurement data, you can save them as an asset. And yeah, and you can later reuse these assets. when you save an asset via the Save button here into a pre-installed folder structure for i1 Profiler, the assets will appear here left-hand in the section. And they can easily be reused by either pressing a load button or via drag and drop. Then all settings were loaded, or simply by double clicking to an asset. Then it will be reloaded to that particular workflow step. Yeah. And this way, it's also possible, like I have shown already, I was a bit too quick, it is possible to reload a completely created ICC profile, which is very, for instance, want the profile based on the same a particular different setting, it's easy to use. Yeah, and aside from saving single assets here, you can also save a complete workflow with all settings and data by using the save and load workflow buttons here, bottom right in the wizard. Yeah, so all this makes the usage of the software very powerful. You can share settings with other users, even between Mac and Windows. And yeah, so yeah, Neta, I am at the end. My time is finished. I give the word back to you and happy to answer some questions.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Liane. All right, so if you have any questions that you have not submitted yet, you can submit them now. In the meantime, I'm going to pop up another poll question. So if anyone wants to take that while we wait for the questions to arrive. Okay, thank you, everyone. We have a couple of questions here. One question is, I have an i1 profile display too. Is it safe to download the software?
No, the old i1 Display 2 device is not supported anymore. This is a very old discontinued device. It's not supported anymore.
Okay. Another question is it possible to build a completely custom chart for RGB?
Yes, that's possible in the advanced printer profile. You can define the number of color patches you want to use. And in the second step, you can lay out your test chart for your desired device and define paper size and borders and so on. That's possible. And it can then be saved as a TIFF or PDF file. Yeah, and also saved as a reference file to be reused in i1 Profiler.
And I think we will read another 2 questions, I believe, and we will answer all of the questions that we have not read through this webinar. So don't worry about that. We will reach out to you. All right, so is it possible to build a black and white chart for calibrating pro monitors? Oh, sorry, that's another question. Sorry. The second question is for calibrating Pro monitors. Will the i1 Pro 3 Plus or the i1 Display Pro create a superior profile, or will they be equal? So that's two questions.
Yeah. So the first question, it's not possible with i1 Profiler to create black and white profiles. In fact, it's not possible to create pure gray profiles. Usually these profiles are also RGB or CMYK based, but the profile's gamut is built just around the gray axis of a color space. We have another solution for it. It's called i1 Studio, where it is possible with. To the second question, the difference between i1 Pro 3 spectrophotometers and i1 Display Pro or i1 Display Pro 2 Pro Plus colorimeters is in the capability to measure luminances. The maximum luminance which can be measured with an i1 Display Pro is 1000 nits or candela per square meter. The maximum luminance measurable with an i1 Display Pro Plus is 2000 nits, and i1 Pro 3 or i1 Pro 3 Plus can measure up to 5000 nits. So it depends on your type of monitor you want to profile, which device you should select. It depends on the maximum luminance level your monitor can provide to decide which device would be suitable.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was the last question we have time for in this short and sweet webinar that we have. Again, we will follow up if we didn't get to your question. And also you will receive an email with the link to the recording of this webinar. So thank you for joining and have a great day.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.